everyone, get 'em!
This week's episode is brought to you by Salt Creek, some of the best steel and TSS on the market, and Kicks Industries. The Smoke Series is my favorite. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to this week's YouTube Live and the podcast. My name is RD. Welcome to the Waterfowl Den. Hopefully everybody's having a good Wednesday night. Hopefully y'all enjoying this cold, cool snap. Winter, summer, spring. I don't know what that was. Something just jumped out. It was like winter can't make up its mind. We had spring, all this pollen's everywhere, and then we had summer where it was 89 degrees Saturday, and now it's cold. So hopefully everybody's doing good. My light fell over here because tonight we are talking something spooky. It's like early Halloween. Not really, but it is pretty cool tonight. I have a story to tell that I never heard before. So buckle up. We're going to talk about something very weird, again, that I've never heard of, and I thought it was very interesting. So maybe something pulled my lamp off. Maybe it's the mystery of the topic tonight. So welcome everybody for tuning in. It's going to take a little bit for a couple people to jump in here. I see some people already joined. So tonight, if you saw the picture, you're going to be like, what in the world are we talking about? It's a house. A special house. And the mystery and the history behind this house, as soon as I saw it, it intrigued me to find more about it. I mean, it was very, very interesting. But before we get started on that, we're going to talk about last weekend. Last weekend, me and old Tony, we went down to the Palmetto State gathering. Man, we got there early. We got there probably an hour early, and the line was massive. And the line behind us was even further than that. What's up, Jay Bird? Jay, I got a story tonight. If anybody's heard this story before, it's going to have to be you. Like, I never heard it, so we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But the Palmetto State Armory event was awesome. Oh, man, it was nice to start with. Around lunchtime, the sun came out, and it went to bait 350. And for two old fat guys, we started getting hot. We shot a lot of guns, a lot of pistols. It was fun. Had some pretty good food, that was for sure. It was a good day. Celebrated my birthday. It never felt so good to be 25. So if y'all believe that one, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona, but had a good birthday. But this weekend is the Sportsman's Classic in South Carolina. It's at the Gamecocks, right beside the Gamecocks football stadium. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I believe. I know Friday and Saturday. I think Sunday, but I'm not sure. But definitely Friday and Saturday. It's at the State Fairgrounds. So if you live anywhere near Columbia, this is a great, and I mean a great event. Like deer hunting, turkey hunting, duck hunting, like vendors, like guide service. If you're looking for a boat, they're going to have every boat that you could possibly dream of to set your foot on. Lawnmowers, side-by-sides. There was one side-by-side out there last year. It had everything that you could ever think of on it. Thank you, Jay Bird. Thank you for my birthday wish there. But yes, they will have everything. They'll have food trucks. They'll have where you can get your deer antlers scored. It's going to be something else. But tonight, we're going to be talking about something, like I said before, something that I didn't even know nothing about. You know, if somebody says, hey, RD, would you like to go to California? There's not a whole lot of things in California that I probably care to go see. Maybe the Golden Gate Bridge. Wouldn't mind seeing the hill where what was that? Oh man, the kids. What's that? I can't even think of Joy and all that. Whatever that movie was, that was that series. I wouldn't mind seeing them houses. Uh, Maybe the prison, but for the most part, there's probably not much in California, except now. Now I got something I want to go see in California. Like, I kid you not. If I go to anywhere near California, now I got to go see this house. So let me throw this house up there to you. Look at this house. This is what we're talking about tonight. Does anybody know what this house is? And I got a little. I can't even hide it. So I was trying to hide the name up there. Look at this house. And you're going to say, what is up with this house? Why is RD wanting to talk about it today? Pretty cool house. It's got a big history behind it. And you're going to say, what is it? So tonight, we are talking the Winchester name. Full house. Thank you, sweetie. Full house. That was where I would like to go see. But tonight, we're talking about this house. We are talking about the Winchester name. Who owns Winchester? Well, now Browning owns Winchester. Everybody knows Winchester. Winchester's been around for hundreds of years. But this house is located in San Jose, California. It's a mystery house. But before we talk about the house, we got to talk about the history. And the history starts well before my birthday. I can promise you that. So strap your boots in. We got to take it back a long time. And this is going to really interest you because I went down the rabbit hole. And the more you go down the rabbit hole, boy, it is very interesting. So, what if wealth was inherited to you, but it came with a price? Like you got all the money in the world that you ever needed, but it come with a price. Not written in contracts, but whispered in the dark. A house with doors to nowhere. Stairs that climbed into the ceiling. A mansion that was built for nearly 40 years. This is not a ghost story. This is a true story. This is a story of a family who intended to help shape America. And a woman who spent her life trying to outrun her consequences. So welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are going deeper into the family of the Winchesters. So the rise of the firearm empire and the now I even got myself messed up. The tragedy. Come on, get it together. We ain't how long? We ain't even 9 minutes in, and I already got the tragedy. I'm done with it. Shattered a family, and this strange, endless construction of this house still stands today. That picture that I showed earlier was from today. Before the Winchester name became a legacy, the idea of a repeating firearm was just an idea. Repeating. Now remember, we're going back to 1850s where the old flint lockers, they strike, they had to repack, they needed something faster. You're talking well before a lot of the wars ever started. They needed something that could fire multiple rounds without reloading. That's where the name Repeating Firearms came from. You see that in their logo, Winchester, Repeating Firearms. So in the 1850s, inventors were racing to create this weapon. One of the earliest breakthroughs came from the Vatican Repeating Arms Company, which started struggling financially until Oliver Winchester stepped in and bought the company. He wasn't a gunsmith. He had a vision to build a company. He saw potential where others saw failure. So this is where the name changed to Winchester Repeating Firearms. And when you go down this rabbit hole, I'm talking about massive buildings, massive towns. This man, if you live in the South, you remember Springs Industries. This is pretty much what Winchester made. I mean, he made a massive community, massive buildings. In 1866, everything started changing. The Winchester model 1866 hit the market. It was fast, it was reliable, it was deadly effective. So for the first time, a shooter could fire multiple shots. This was when the West was the West. The gold mines just was starting, the railroad. You had the old gunslingers, all kind of movies that we see today. This is what during that time period. So the bad guys had them and the good guys had them. The bad guys had them, and then the sheriffs were trying to fight the train robbers and all that. So not only was this used for military later on, we're talking about how America was created. So settlers were moving west, lawmen were maintaining order, and outlaws were breaking it. During this time, the nation was healing from a civil war. The rifle became something of survival and conflict. The early names echo today. The gun that won the West. We heard that thousands of times, but the history is never one-sided. The Winchester fortune grew, and I'm talking about massively grew. So incoming was a woman named Sarah. She was Sarah Pardue. She was well educated, intelligent, and came from a respectable family where she married William Winchester. She stepped into one of the most powerful families in America during that time. Her future looked super bright. But tragedy came. Before they ever had time to fully become parents, years later, she lost her child. Her infant daughter, Annie, died, and it heartbroke her. She was an outgoing person. Not very tall. She was very short, very outgoing, and she loved being with people. But right after her daughter died, her husband just fell ill with tuberculosis and he died. Despite their wealth, there was nothing they could do. He passed away in 1881. With a short span of time, Sarah lost her child, she lost her husband, and then she just went mute. She didn't want to be around people. She didn't want anything to do with people. She became very sheltered. So she also had a problem. She had rheumatoid arthritis. If you don't know what rheumatoid arthritis is, that's when your hands start turning and is really bad arthritis. So she was going to a doctor, and the doctor told her, hey, there ain't much I could do for you here. So you need to move where it's warmer, where this humidity and the temperatures and the cold, you need to move out west. She's like, okay, well, I'm going to move to California. Well, during that time, she went and spoke with a psychic. Now, did the psychic know who she was? Did she just walk in and say, read my future? Don't know. I wasn't born. But somewhere around the late 1800s, that psychic told her something. Was it her last name? Did that psychic know who she was? Was the psychic even real? Does psychics even know? There's a whole mystery behind that. But that psychic told her something was going to happen to her. She was going to have to pay for all the blood that these Winchesters were making. Like she was going to have to live with the ghost. And the only way that you could live without these ghosts would be one way. So she inherited, at this time, in 1881, over $200 million. What's up, everybody? We're talking about the Winchester family tonight, the Winchester Gun Company. So she just lost her daughter, she just lost her husband, and now she's got rheumatoid arthritis. She's now having to live with this past history, good or bad, but that's equivalent to today's of hundreds of millions of dollars. Nearly half, she owned half of the Winchester Company. And we know how big the Winchester Company now is today. I'm telling you to go back and look into this history of this story. And I'm talking massive communities, massive buildings. So her daily income, now this is mind-blowing, in 1881, her daily income was $1,000 a day. I mean, that's crazy. Crazy. I mean, I would like to have $1,000 a day now, much less in 1881. But she became one of the richest women of the world. But money doesn't silence a loss. She was in mourning, which, like I said earlier, she was outgoing. She loved to be around people. But the death of her child and now her husband, she went into mourning. She went into darkness. At some point, she wanted an answer. So she went and visited that medium, that psychic in Boston, where she was told that would define the rest of her life. The spirits of those killed by the Winchester rifles would haunt her family unless she took action. Leave her home, travel west, build a house for herself and those spirits. And some people are going to be like, well, I don't believe in spirits. And, you know, hey, that's not the talking point today. We're talking about the house in California. So she moves out there, multi-millionaire, and she starts building. And she never stops. If construction stopped, her life would stop. Was it trust in that? Was it grief? Or was it something else? So in 1986, she moved to California where she purchased a farmhouse. But it didn't just stay a farmhouse very long. Construction started immediately. She started getting people in with blueprints. She didn't like the way they were doing it. So she was like, you know what? I'm going to design my house the way I want to design it. The house became known as the Winchester Mystery House. So I'm going to pull that up again, and I'm going to show you this house. This house is legit real. I'm not making it up. It is right now, today, 160 room house. 24,000 square foot mansion. And I don't even remember how many bathrooms it had. It was constructed over 36 years, 24/7, never stopped, 24/7. They were building 24/7 nonstop. It resulted in a maze of a mansion, 160 rooms, 10,000 windows, and 2,000 doors. You can't make this up. I mean, it is unreal. So in 1906, an earthquake damaged the house because the farmhouse only started out as like a really small farmhouse. So when she ran out of room, she just started building up and then building up some more. So I'm going to show you this house again. This is it's crazy. I'm telling you, I want to go to California now and actually see this. So here we go. All right, so here's the house. She did not like the cedar look or the color, so she painted the house. That's another topic down the road. But this house is massive. And I can't give it all away yet because I got to finish the rest of the story. She had a garden, she had greenhouses. I mean, windows, unreal. So let me get back to my story here. So, there we go. So, she started building. Was it her intentions to maybe keep her mind busy? Possibly. The house didn't just quit capturing itself. It was living. It was a breathing structure, constantly changing. She would come in mid-construction of a room and say, you know what? I don't like the way this looks. We're starting over, and just completely change what she had in mind. She would create 2 rooms, and they were called mirror rooms. They would look exactly the same, but one would be formal and the other one would be really formal. But she didn't host a whole lot of parties because she was still mourning. The construction was guided by herself. What makes the house famous isn't just the size, it's the strangeness. It is very strange. The staircase leads up to ceilings. Like, she walked in and said, hey, I want stairs and I want them to go straight to the ceiling. There ain't no door, there ain't no room. There's just stairways. And then stairways turn to more stairways. The doors opened into empty spaces. There's one particular door that just opens up on the second floor, and there's nothing under it but the kitchen. No floor, nothing. Windows placed inside the walls. So there would be a window, and they would open it up, or there could be a door where there used to be a door, and now there's a window. I mean, it is crazy. It looks like a maze. And why would you say it was a maze? Because in her mind, she was tripping up the spirits. Because if she couldn't figure it out, or if you couldn't figure out how to move around in this house, the spirits never could get her. So this house eventually became made for her and her arthritis. She made stairs that was made for her. She had features designed for her arthritis. She became very, very into 13. Like 13 was her magical number. Like 13 steps to a staircase, 13 panel windows, 13 hooks in a closet, a lot of spider webs, a lot of number 13s. There's 13s everywhere. Was it supernatural? Was it spiritual protection? Was it a ritual? Who knows? Sarah lived a quiet life. She was very isolated. She would hold nightly, kind of like, she didn't even stay in the same bedroom every night. She had so many bedrooms that she would sleep in a different room every single night to trip the spirits up. She constantly kept redesigning the house. The servants reported that construction crews worked all shifts 24/7. The hammers never stopped. The house was always becoming something else. In 1922, she died in her sleep. And that night, instantly, construction stopped. As soon as she died, construction stopped. And I'm talking about some of the best construction. I'm talking about woodwork. These men who came to work at this house were at the top of their level of woodworking. They went to work for her and was making more money just working for her than anywhere else. Like I said, 20, 30 years before, she was making $1,000 a day still because she was the Winchester, half owner of the Winchester family. But when she died, projects just went unfinished. It looked like they turned the key and walked away. For 4 decades, silence filled the hallways. Today, the house still stands. The maze of questions, they're still finding stuff today. It was said that she went into one room that she designed, got locked in the room, couldn't get out. So then she panicked and they put more doors in with a maze so that she would never get caught in a room again. So there is so much to this house that is unreal. She had only one working bathroom, but there were many bathrooms, but only one worked. They said when she got so sick that new people that came to take care of her had to have a map of the house so that they would not get lost in the house. Now you tell me how crazy that is. Hey, so-and-so is on floor whatever. They didn't have walkie-talkies in the early 1900s. So could you imagine a house 24,000 square foot that was so big that you had to have a map so that you that worked there wouldn't get lost? Like I said, she was constantly moving all the way up to almost her time of death. And there was one particular room that she enjoyed being in the most, but again, she would not spend the night in one bedroom. Again, it went back to them spirits. She would want to trap them in rooms so that they wouldn't know what room she was sleeping in. She thought, hey, if I put a door here and the spirit fell out the door, it would tie them up. So because everything was kept alive, they eventually sold the furniture out of it and they turned it into a museum. So today you can go and tour this house. It is amazing. I highly recommend that you go down the rabbit hole of the Winchester history. Has anybody ever heard this story? There's a few people still on the line. Has anybody heard of the Winchester Sarah mysteries? But did you know they actually made a movie about this? There is a movie, and I can't wait to watch it. It is on the queue. The Winchester Mystery. I'm thinking it was made in 2018. 2018 is called Winchester. And it's all about this woman who built a house to run from the spirits. But again, was it the spirits? Was it just she didn't know what to do with the loss of her child and her husband? She had more money than she knew what to do with. They said that she didn't want. I hear you, Jay Bird. That's pretty cool. I've never heard of it. I own Winchesters. Never heard that story. Never even knew there was a movie. But she had so much money that they said she was so quiet that she would, and I'm talking about this farm. She was out on a farm. the where this place is now doesn't look like what it used to look like. But she would build houses. And she would use her money to build these houses on her property to help take care of people. Like, she just gave money to the community. Like, it was, she didn't really care, but she kept it quiet. No one knew what she was doing. But she loved her community that much that she was also doing other stuff, which was also in return making money for the contractors. Again, this house was built 30 something years. The contractors that worked there, hey, they could have been young and almost retired by just working for a single lady. Could you imagine working for, now I ain't even gonna go there. Now I know some of y'all gonna be like, RD, I know you married, and I know she comes up with some honey-do list, but could you imagine working 30 years for a lady where you did all this woodwork and she would just come in and say, you know what? Let's start all over. Let's just change this room all up. And she would sit down and design it how she wanted. And I'm talking about some of the amazing woodwork. The doors, they turned into this museum. There is a room where she would take all her stuff, where she was redesigning it, and they put this in a room where it was just extra supplies, like doors, stained glass. Now you talking, they didn't have the home depot back then, so they didn't just go out and buy a door. They had to make it. So she had this barn, and they turned it into a museum of nothing but the doors that were inside this house. And again, that earthquake damaged a lot of the house. What did she do? She just started building more. And this house is massive. So go down the rabbit hole of this house. And I'm talking about, I can share now some of the pictures of this house. So, oh, not if I don't share the right screen. So here is the house. So in her garden, like I said, she had arthritis. So she loved gardening and greenhouse so much. Now, like I said, this was the late 1800s, 1900s. In the greenhouse, she had designed removable floors. Like, she could walk and go into the greenhouse, but when it was time to water the greenhouse or water the flowers, they could pull up the floor, the water would run into the grates, and then back out and not mess the floors up. But this place is massive. And like I said, I really would like to go there. So this is where it's at in California. So there's California. There's the house. Zoomed out a little too far. There we go. Winchester Mystery House. It looks like it's right off of the interstate. So imagine what this looked like well before it was ever designed. Like I said, it was a little teeny farmhouse. So here is this mansion. Look how big that is. Now, granted, I understand now it's part of a museum and they got parking and stuff like that. But look at the square footage of this house. Massive. And if you get on Google Earth, you can see all these little circles. Circles are where people upload photos. The blue line is like a guided tour, so you could go around the building and stuff like this. So if you drop the little man inside the building, you will see photos. Also, you can see photos on the Google page by the owner. I mean, look at this. This was like one of the first organs. Look at that room. She would go places just to pick out wallpaper and ceiling tiles. I'm talking millions of dollars houses. It is unreal. Look at that. Look at that woodwork. You don't see that today. There's the spider webs. Like I said, she believed a lot with the number 13. What did the 13 mean? I don't know. But one day, if I get out to California, we're going to go there. But I mean, there's like a bell tower. Look at that. There's so many fireplaces in the house. This was her favorite bedroom. This is what it looked like well before color photos. Um, there is some very interesting stuff about this house. Like I said, go down the YouTube rabbit hole and you will find some really cool stuff. You can see in the photos now that this is a museum and they have put sprinkler systems in the house. They didn't have sprinklers back when she was designing it. And if she did, it would probably be made out of wood. But this is like one of these doors. You can see the door. There's no stairs. Be really interesting to find the picture of the stairwell going up to the ceiling. Here's some of that ceiling art. Like I said, very, very interesting. Really would like to find the photo of the stairs. And I'm sure I could type that in. Look at this stairs. This stair merged and went another way. This is the stair that I was talking about. Look, so the stair goes up and it just deads into the ceiling. I mean, this is like someone would say, you know, this was just a gag gift, like a gag house. Like she just wanted this to be something to attract money. Like I said, when her child died and her husband died, she moved out to California. She wasn't interested in making money. She was one of the richest women in the world. So, was it the spirits? Was she bored? Did she have enough money that she was just, what can I do with it? Was she sad? Was she mourning the loss of her family? We may never know. But what do y'all think? Very interesting. I can't wait to go watch this movie. And like I said, if I ever go out to California, I'm definitely going to go visit this house. The address is 525 South Winchester Boulevard. So we all heard the name Winchester before, like I originally started. But did you know about this house? Did you know about the mystery of this house? But not only going down this road of about this house, go learn more about the Winchester community and learn about the factories. Learn about during the Civil War, what else did Winchester make? What did Winchester start designing? Because once the war stopped, there was no contracts from the government to buy rifles. So they started trying to do other stuff. Very interesting, very smart men. Do some history, learn about Winchester. And after you learn about Winchester's history, kick up the story of Remington. Also a very interesting story. You're going to find about a man who also started a gun company that had a lot of ups and downs in the company financially and was originally sold. Um, I'm going to save this topic for Remington for a different day, because I found out something about Remington that I've never heard of. And it all has to do with the Remington 700. How many people's heard of the Remington 700? I own one, a bolt action, but I didn't know something about the 700. And matter of fact, I've learned two things about the 700 that made me scratch my head. One of them really made me scratch my head, and the other one was, I own a 700. That's kind of scary. But that's a different day for a different topic. So you're going to have to tune in when we go down memory lane of the Remington family and the Remington name. So hopefully everybody's having a good night. With that being said, I thought it was very interesting tonight to learn about the Remington Winchester family. I didn't know that. I didn't know about the history. I didn't know about the house. I didn't know how much manufacturing Winchester built back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. But I thought it was very interesting. And going into spirits and mysteries, before closing the night, I always here lately been talking about Bible verses before closing out. So tonight, I'm going to read Matthew chapter 13, verse 11. It is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. So Jesus basically says some truths are revealed to those who lean in and listen. So today's takeaway, go learn about the Winchester family. Learn about the history of the Winchesters. But a simple takeaway today is God's mysteries aren't meant to frustrate you. They're inviting you to a locked door where He is holding the key, waiting for you just to ask. So tonight, get to know the man that we call Jesus. And I'm going to close this in prayer. Y'all be safe. Our Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you for all the mysteries that you did give us. How did you create this world? How does all this play every day? How can you listen to so many people talking to you at one time? How is this a mystery? It's not a mystery to you. You never made it where you don't know what's going on. And I greatly appreciate you knowing I was going to be born and I was going to be made in the image of you, but I was going to be sinful. I was going to mess up. And you knew that you had to send your son to die on the cross for me, for others. And I greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate it. Where would I be without Jesus? Thank God. Thank God. I will never know. Thank you for the blessings that you do for me. Thank you for keeping some of them doors locked. Thank you for not opening a window. And when you do close a window, thank you for opening the door. It may be a mystery on how I go through it to me, but I know that you have it all worked out. And I greatly appreciate it. And thank you for everything you do. Amen. So y'all have a good week. I'll see y'all next week, next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Y'all be safe. Go learn more about the Winchesters. And here's a word from our sponsors. I'll see y'all next week. Matthew Knight with Satura Investors out of Charlotte. There's the information. The link to his website is scrolling across the banner down at the bottom, and it's also in the description. Today's episode is about helping business owners and working professionals like you who share a passion for the outdoors, shooting sports, zeroing them in to their long-term financial goals. So if you need any information or contact or any other questions, contact Matthew. Flint Ridge Hauling Service, LLC, has partnered up with the channel. It is your go-to provider for all your hauling needs. They are not just any hauling service. They are an active DOT interstate hotshot hauling provider. Flint Ridge Service LLC prides itself in its reliable transportation services. This team ensures that your cargo is delivered safely and on time no matter the distance. Whether you need to transport goods across the county or state line, they have the capacity and the expertise to meet your hauling needs. Equipped with a smooth riding 40-foot air ride equipped trailer and a max hauling capacity of 20,000 pounds, there's no load too big or too small that they can't handle. Look no further than Flint Ridge Hauling Service LLC.